The hardest part is waking up and realizing the person who meant everything to you is never coming back. That ache you carry, the one that sits in your chest like a stone, it didn't start today. It started the moment you lost someone who was your partner, your anchor, your witness in life. And even if you don't say it out loud, I know this. The silence in your home has become unbearable. It's not just quiet. It's the kind of silence that follows you from room to room. A silence that reminds you that the voice you once waited for will never fill the space again. You pass by their chair, their favorite mug, the corner of the bed that now feels too big, too cold. And something inside you breaks again. You try to keep moving, but grief keeps pulling you back. Some days it feels like the world is racing ahead while you're standing in the same moment of loss, unable to step forward. And the truth you rarely admit, even to yourself, is this: you feel left behind. Not because anyone abandoned you, not because your family doesn't care, but because they don't feel the absence the way you do. They don't wake up to an empty side of the bed. They don't hear the silence that used to be filled with conversation, laughter, or simply the comfort of someone else's presence. They don't know what it's like to eat dinner alone after decades of sharing a table. They don't know how heavy nighttime feels now, when memories hit hardest, when you're afraid to turn off the lights because darkness makes the loneliness louder. And maybe, just maybe, you've been pretending to be okay, smiling at the right moments, telling people you're fine, changing the subject when someone asks how you're really doing, not because you're hiding, but because you don't want to burden anyone, because you've always been strong, because you don't know how to explain a pain that doesn't end. But listen to me gently. What you're feeling is real. It is not too much, and it is not your fault. Grief in later life hits differently. It shakes your identity, your routines, your sense of safety. It's not just losing a person. It's losing a future you thought you would still share. It's losing the one who knew your stories without needing them explained. That's why the sadness lingers, why certain days feel impossible, why the world looks unfamiliar now. You are not weak. You are not taking too long. You're a human being carrying the weight of a love that mattered deeply. And I'm here with you, not to tell you to move on, but to walk with you as you learn to carry this pain in a way that doesn't crush you. We'll go slowly, gently, one breath at a time, because you deserve compassion, understanding, and a place where your grief doesn't need to be hidden. You've been carrying this pain for a long time now, and maybe you haven't said it out loud, not even to yourself. But grief hasn't really loosened its grip on you. It hasn't softened, it hasn't faded the way people say it should. In fact, some days it feels even heavier than before, like a weight that settles into your chest the moment you open your eyes. And I want you to know, truly know, there is nothing unusual about that. You're not taking too long. You're not stuck. You're not failing to move on. You're a human being living through something that changed the entire shape of your world. Grief has a way of weaving itself into everyday life until it becomes part of the air you breathe. You wake up already tired, not because you didn't sleep well, but because your heart has been working overtime just to keep going. You walk through the house and every small thing pulls a memory out of you. A cup on the counter, a chair at the table, a pillow on the bed. These aren't just objects anymore. They're reminders of the presence that once filled your life with warmth. And you may notice that your emotions don't behave the way they used to. Tears come out of nowhere. A song, a smell, a quiet moment. Suddenly the grief rises up without warning. And on other days, you feel almost nothing at all. Not sad, not angry, just empty. Like your heart has gone quiet to protect you from breaking again. That's something people rarely talk about, the exhaustion that comes with missing someone day after day. There is a name for it, grief fatigue. But you don't need a label to know how real it is. Your mind feels foggy. Your body moves slower. Even simple tasks take more effort than they used to. You're not imagining it. Your whole system is trying to survive something incredibly painful. And then there's the loneliness, the kind that doesn't go away just because you talked to someone on the phone or because your children visited last weekend. It's a deeper loneliness, the kind that grows from losing the one person who understood your everyday rhythms, who knew your moods just by looking at you, who shared your quiet moments without needing any words. Living alone now feels different. The silence in your house isn't peaceful anymore. It's sharp. It follows you from room to room. Eating dinner alone hits differently after so many years of sharing a table. Watching TV isn't the same without someone beside you reacting to the same scenes. Nights can be the hardest. That's when the house feels the biggest. That's when the absence feels the loudest. And as if the grief itself wasn't heavy enough, there's the fear that comes along with it. Fear of getting sick and having no one nearby who truly sees you. Fear of falling or needing help and no one being there to hear you call out. Fear of the night, not because of darkness itself, but because darkness seems to amplify every memory, every ache, every echo of what once was. And yes, there's fear of the future too. Before, the future was something you shared with someone. You planned together, worried together, dreamed together. Now, the future feels like a long stretch of road you're expected to walk alone. Not because you want to, but because you no longer have the companion you imagined would walk beside you until the very end. And underneath all of that, there's something even harder to talk about: the loss of motivation. You don't wake up with the same sense of purpose anymore. The days blend together, moments feel flat. You do things because you have to, not because you're looking forward to anything. The spark you used to feel, the one that came from sharing life with someone, it just isn't there the way it used to be. You used to cook because someone looked forward to your meals. You used to go for walks because someone held your hand. You used to smile because someone smiled back. Those little exchanges gave meaning to your days. Now, without them, you're left trying to figure out how to live in a world that suddenly feels too quiet, too big, and too empty. But hear me. Really hear me. None of this means you're weak. None of this means you're giving up. What you're experiencing is what happens when a heart full of love loses the person it was intertwined with for years, decades, maybe a lifetime. You are not lazy. You are not dramatic. You are not stuck in the past. You are grieving in the exact way a human heart grieves when it loses something irreplaceable. Everything you're feeling, the tiredness, the loneliness, the fear, the lack of purpose, these are not signs of failure. They're signs of love, signs that someone mattered to you in a way that shaped who you are. And the journey you're on now, you don't have to walk it alone. I'm right here with you, not to push you forward or tell you to be strong, but to sit with you as you begin to understand your own pain in a gentler kind of way. Little by little, we'll move through this together, not quickly, not forcefully, but gently, the way healing is meant to happen. You've probably asked yourself more than once, why does this hurt so much? Why am I not healing faster? Why does it feel like my whole world has collapsed? And maybe you've wondered if there's something wrong with you because the pain hasn't eased the way you hoped it would. But the truth is much softer, much kinder than the stories you might be telling yourself. Nothing is wrong with you. You're not supposed to bounce back. You're not supposed to get over it in a neat time frame. What you're feeling is the natural response of a human heart that has loved deeply and lost something irreplaceable. Let's take a slow breath together and gently look at why this grief feels so powerful, especially at this point in your life. Losing someone when you're older is different from losing someone earlier in life. Not worse or better, just profoundly different. When you're younger, your identity is still forming. You're still building routines, relationships, dreams, and versions of yourself. But when you lose someone after years, decades of shared life, the loss doesn't just remove a person. It removes an entire structure that your days were built around. Think about how intertwined your lives were. How many routines depended on one another? How many memories lived in shared spaces? How many decisions you made together without even realizing it? Over time, your lives didn't just run parallel. They merged. Your preferences, your rhythms, your joys, your quiet habits, they formed a shared world. And when that world disappears, it's not just painful, it's disorienting. It's like losing gravity. Your mind and body feel shaken because in many ways, they are. The person you lost wasn't just a companion. They were part of your nervous system, your emotional grounding, your sense of safety. Their presence regulated you. Their laughter softened your stress. Their voice calmed your fears. Their routines aligned with yours in ways too subtle to see but too powerful to deny. So when someone says you'll feel better soon or you just need to stay busy, they're missing the deeper truth. Your mind is not just grieving a person, it is grieving a whole way of living, a whole identity, a whole future that you quietly, naturally expected to unfold. This is why older adults experience such intense emotional collapse after a major loss. You're not only processing the pain of what happened, you're trying to rebuild the foundation of your life at an age where rebuilding feels almost impossible. And that brings us to another truth that you may not have heard before. Healing really does take longer when you're older. Not because older people are weaker, not because you're less resilient, but because your emotional attachments run deeper. You've built a lifetime with someone, habits, stories, rituals, hopes, inside jokes, shared responsibilities, shared sorrows, shared dreams. You didn't just lose a person, you lost the witness to your life. Someone who saw every version of you, someone who remembered things you don't even remember anymore. Your brain is also different now than it was when you were younger. As we age, the brain becomes more sensitive to stress and loss. It processes emotional pain differently. It holds on to memories more tightly, both the sweet ones and the painful ones. So what you're feeling is not stubbornness or weakness. It is simply the brain responding naturally to a devastating change. And it is here, right here, that many people begin to criticize themselves. I should be stronger. I shouldn't still be crying. I should be over this by now. But that self-blame is built on a misunderstanding of what grief actually is. Grief is not a task. It's not a test of character. It's not a timeline you're supposed to follow. It's a reaction, an involuntary, deeply human response to losing something your heart wasn't ready to let go of. Think about this. If you broke your leg, no one would expect you to walk normally right away. No one would ask you to smile through the pain. No one would tell you to get over it. But when the heart breaks, people somehow believe time alone should fix it. Yet the heart doesn't heal like bone. It heals like skin after a deep burn, slowly, unevenly, and with the scars that never fully disappear. And one of the reasons your grief may feel unpredictable is because of something called grief looping. Even if you've never heard the term before, you've definitely felt it. It's when emotions come back in waves, sudden, powerful, sometimes out of nowhere. You can be doing fine, going about your day, and then something, a sound, a scent, a memory, a date, pulls you right back into the center of the pain as if no time has passed at all. This looping isn't a setback. It isn't failure. It's not a sign that you're going backwards. It's simply the way the mind tries to understand something too big and too painful to process all at once. So it gives you pieces, a little at a time, in cycles. Some days are gentler, some are harder. This isn't dysfunction, it's survival. Many people describe grief as feeling like half of their soul has been taken away. And while that sounds dramatic, psychologically, it's incredibly accurate. When you spend years bound to another person, emotionally, mentally, practically, your brains literally sink. Your bodies sink. Your emotional systems sink. Losing to that connection feels like losing a part of yourself, because in a very real biological sense, you have. Your routines were shared. Your decisions were shared. Your joys were shared. Your burdens were shared. Your future was shared. So, of course, it feels like something inside you's missing. Of course, it feels like you're walking around incomplete. This sensation doesn't mean you're broken. It means you bonded deeply. It means your love was real. It means your heart remembers what your life felt like when it was whole. And because that bond was built slowly, gently over many years. The process of learning how to live without it cannot be rushed. You have to relearn things you didn't even know you needed to relearn, like how to make decisions alone, how to pass the time, how to sleep, how to exist in a house built for two. You're not just grieving a person, you're grieving a shared life. So let me say this as softly and clearly as I can. The intensity of your pain is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of depth, a sign of love, a sign that you built something meaningful, something that mattered so much that losing it shook the ground you stand on. You're not taking too long. You're adapting to a world that changed without your permission. You're learning to breathe in a new atmosphere where the air feels thin. You're learning to walk with a missing piece, a piece you didn't choose to lose. And through all of this, the most important thing to remember is that your grief is not something you have to fight. It's something you have to understand. Once you understand it, once you realize why it feels so enormous, you can finally stop blaming yourself for the very human pain you're experiencing. Grief is not the enemy. Self-judgment is, silence is, loneliness is, but you're not alone right now. I'm here with you, walking through these feelings step by gentle step, helping you see that everything you're experiencing has a reason, a rhythm, a psychology behind it. Your pain has meaning, your love has meaning, and your healing, slow as it may be, has meaning too. We'll take this slowly, together, one breath at a time. You might not realize it, but one of the hardest parts of grief is how it reshapes the smallest moments of your day. Not the big events, not the anniversaries, those in a way you can prepare yourself for. What truly cuts deep are the ordinary moments, the simple routines, the quiet spaces that used to feel normal, but now feel unbearably empty. Morning is often the first reminder. You wake up, and before your eyes even open, your body remembers something is missing. There used to be a good morning, a familiar sound, a rustle beside you, a breath you didn't have to think about. Now, the room feels colder, the air feels still, and you start your day with a silence that wasn't there before. It's a silence that doesn't greet you, it confronts you. That silence follows you into the kitchen. Maybe you still make coffee out of habit. Maybe you pour it and sit in the same chair you always did. But the other chair, the one across the table or beside you, or the one they loved, that chair becomes louder than anything else in the room. It's not just empty. It feels like an echo of a life that isn't here anymore. What people don't always understand is how deeply grief weaves itself into everyday rituals. Eating used to be a shared moment, a shared conversation, a shared smile even on the quiet days. Now, meals feel more like chores, something to get through rather than something to enjoy. You sit down, you pick up your fork, and you feel the absence in a way that hits harder than words can explain. It's not hunger you're dealing with, it's loneliness at the table. And it's not just meals, it's walking through your home. Every room holds a memory. Every corner carries a trace of them, a sweater draped over a chair, a book left on a shelf, a spot on the couch that still carries the shape of their presence in your mind. Even the things you used to ignore suddenly become reminders. Grief has a way of turning your home into a museum of moments you didn't realize were sacred until they were gone. You might find yourself avoiding certain rooms because they hurt too much, or you walk through them even though they hurt, because avoiding them feels like letting go too soon. There's no right way to do it. There's only the way that keeps you breathing. Routines that once anchored your days feel different now. You may no longer open the curtains at the same time. You may not make breakfast the way you used to. You may start staying up later, sleeping in longer, or losing track of time without meaning to. It's not because you're disorganized or not yourself. It's because the rhythm of your life was built for two, and now you're trying to find your footing in a rhythm that doesn't match your heart. And sometimes you might feel guilty for the ways your routines have changed. Maybe you're not cooking anymore. Maybe you skip the evening walk you once enjoyed together. Maybe the TV stays off, or maybe it stays on longer than usual, just to fill the silence. But all of these changes are normal. They're not a sign that you're letting yourself fall apart. They're simply signs that you're adjusting to a life you didn't choose. The truth is, grief disrupts your rhythm because grief disrupts your world. Your days don't flow the way they used to. Time doesn't feel the same. Some days stretch on endlessly while others vanish before you can even understand where they went. This isn't you losing control. This is you navigating shock, navigating absence, navigating change that your heart wasn't prepared for. And what makes it even harder is the feeling that no one else sees this. People might check in with you about how you're holding up emotionally, but they rarely ask how breakfast felt today, or how quiet the hallway sounded, or how strange it was to fold laundry for one. They don't see how grief hides in the small details. They don't understand how much courage it takes just to live an ordinary day when someone extraordinary is missing from it. That's why you might feel like you're the only one going through this, like your reactions are strange or excessive, but nothing about this experience is too much. Nothing about it is strange. Anyone who built a life with someone, truly built a life, would feel the same seismic shift in their day-to-day world if that person disappeared. Because grief doesn't just live in your heart. It lives in your schedule, your environment, your habits. It lives in the way you move through the world. It lives in the empty spaces where someone used to stand, talk, breathe, laugh. One of the most painful truths about grief is that it forces you to learn how to exist in your own home. You have to rebuild meaning in places that were meaningful because of someone else. You have to reorganize routines that once revolved around another presence. And that isn't a simple task. It isn't a quick adjustment. It's a slow, often painful rediscovery of how to live in a world that doesn't match your memories. But here's the part I want you to hold close. If your mornings feel heavy, if meals feel lonely, if your home feels too quiet, if routines feel broken, it's not because you're weak. It's because you're grieving exactly the way a human being grieves when they've lost someone who shaped their life. You're not the only one. You're not strange. You're not failing. You're adjusting to a world that changed without warning. And step by step, room by room, moment by moment, you'll learn how to move forward, not by forgetting, not by ignoring the pain, but by slowly finding new ways to live inside the life you still have. And you don't have to figure it out alone. I'm right here, walking with you through every quiet morning, every difficult meal, every memory-soaked corner of your home, helping you see that you're doing the best you can. And truly, that is enough. There comes a moment in grief, sometimes early, sometimes much later, when you realize that avoiding the pain doesn't actually make it smaller. It only buries it. And buried pain doesn't disappear. It waits. It grows in the dark. And sooner or later, it finds a way back into the light. That's why I want to talk with you about something that may feel uncomfortable, but is deeply important for your healing. Facing your loss instead of running from it. Not all at once, not in a dramatic way, but gently, gradually, in small breaths and small moments. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to be brave. You just have to be honest with yourself, with your heart, with the love you still carry. One of the first steps in this process is accepting that what you're feeling is normal, truly normal. Pain after losing someone you love isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you're human. It's a sign that you cared. It's a sign that your relationship mattered. Think about this. If your heart didn't ache, if you didn't feel the loss, it would mean the connection wasn't real, but it was real. It shaped your life, your days, your identity. That's why your grief feels so big. It's not too much. It's proportional to the depth of your love. You may have heard people say, be strong, or keep busy, or try not to think about it. They mean well, but they don't understand that strength isn't the absence of pain. Strength is allowing yourself to feel the pain without judging it. Strength is letting yourself remember without rushing to shut the memory down. Strength is sitting with your emotions instead of pretending they're not there. And sometimes strength looks like crying. Crying is not a failure. Crying is not a setback. Crying is your heart releasing what it can no longer hold inside. There's a reason why you feel lighter after tears. They are the body's way of unclenching, of opening up space for breath, for clarity, for softness. When you cry for someone you loved, you're honoring the place they held and still hold within you. The same is true for remembering. Memories aren't the enemy. They're pieces of your story. They're threads that connect you to a part of your life you don't want to lose completely. Sometimes memories hurt. Sometimes they feel warm. Sometimes they break you open and put you back together in the same breath. And every one of those reactions is okay. You don't have to push memories away just because they bring tears. You don't have to feel guilty for smiling when a sweet memory surfaces. Let them come. Let them flow. Let them speak. They're reminders of something beautiful that once lived inside your everyday moments. Another important truth is this: there is no timeline for healing. no deadline, no stopwatch, no universal schedule. Whoever told you that grief should neatly resolve after 6 months or a year misunderstood what grief really is. Grief is not a project. It's not something you complete. It's something you learn to live with, something you learn to carry. And everyone carries it differently. Some people start to feel lighter sooner. Some take years before the weight shifts. Some never stop grieving, but the grief becomes gentler, softer, like a shadow instead of a storm. You don't need to compare yourself to anyone. Your healing is yours. It belongs to the bond you had, the love you shared, the memories that shaped you. Nobody else can measure your progress. Nobody else can decide how long is long enough. It takes the time it takes, and that's okay. Part of facing your loss is releasing the pressure you put on yourself to move on. Moving on doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean replacing. It doesn't mean letting go of love. You don't have to let go of love to heal. In fact, the love you feel is often the doorway to healing. People often think of grief as the opposite of love. But grief is actually what love looks like when someone is gone. It's the continuation of love in the absence of the person. It's the echo of connection that was real, deep, meaningful. Your grief exists because your love existed first. And that's why I want you to hear this. Your pain is not just pain. It is evidence. It is proof. It is the imprint of something sacred. When you feel that heaviness in your chest, it means your heart once held something worth breaking for. When you feel that ache at night, it means your life was intertwined with another life in a way that mattered. When you miss them so deeply it hurts, it means your bond didn't end just because their physical presence did. This doesn't make the pain easier, but it gives it meaning. It allows you to see your grief not as a punishment, but as a language, a message, a reminder of love so strong that even death couldn't silence it completely. Facing your loss is, in many ways, learning how to talk to your pain instead of fighting it. When sadness rushes, instead of pushing it down, you might say, "I see you. I know why you're here." When a memory surfaces, you might whisper, "That was beautiful. Thank you." When tears fall, you might breathe deeply and allow the waves to pass through you. You're not surrendering to grief, you're learning to coexist with it. Because grief doesn't disappear. It transforms. It shifts. It softens. And if you let yourself face it gently, gradually, it will shape itself into something more manageable, something you can hold without it crushing you. Imagine your grief as a bird resting in your hands. If you clench your fists, trying to trap it or force it away, it panics, it flutters, it hurts you. But if you open your palms and hold it lightly, it becomes calmer, less threatening, less overwhelming. That's what happens when you stop resisting your pain and start allowing it to exist without judgment. And here's the part most people don't realize. Every time you give yourself permission to feel, You reclaim a little piece of your power. Every time you let yourself cry, you loosen the tightness in your chest. Every time you let a memory wash over you, you're honoring the story of your life instead of hiding from it. Facing grief is not about forcing yourself to be strong. It's about letting yourself be human. And the moment you stop running from your pain, even for just a few minutes, your healing begins to shift. Not dramatically, not instantly, but quietly, gently, like the first warm day after a long winter. You may not notice it at first. You may not even believe it's happening. But slowly, your heart begins to make space for both love and loss to live side by side without tearing you apart. You don't have to rush the process. You don't have to fix everything today. You don't have to smile if you don't feel like smiling. Just take one small step toward the truth. Your pain deserves to be seen. Your tears deserve to fall. Your story deserves compassion. Your heart deserves time. And through all of this, every moment of facing, feeling, remembering, you don't have to walk alone. I'm right here with you, gently guiding you back to yourself, reminding you that every emotion you experience is part of love, continuing its journey through you. Your pain means your love was real, and that is nothing to hide from. It's something to honor. Healing after losing someone you love isn't about waking up one morning and suddenly feeling better. It rarely happens that way. Healing is usually slow, almost invisible at first, something that unfolds quietly, the way a bruise fades or a winter gradually becomes spring. And the truth is, you don't have to rush toward it. You don't have to force anything. You just have to take small, kind steps that remind your heart that it's still allowed to breathe, still allowed to live, still allowed to feel. There are gentle ways to help yourself heal. Simple practices that don't demand energy you don't have or courage you're not ready to give. They're not about erasing your grief. They're about creating soft moments of connection, comfort, and meaning as you learn to live with it. One of the most powerful tools, surprisingly simple yet deeply healing, is writing a letter to the person you lost. I know that might feel strange at first. Sitting down with a pen addressing someone who is no longer physically here, but there's something almost magical that happens when you allow your thoughts to flow onto paper. When you write, you give your feelings shape. You give your memories language. You give your heart a place to rest. And in those moments, the person you're writing to doesn't feel so far away. It's as if the letter opens a quiet doorway inside you, a place where love and sorrow can sit together without fighting. You can tell them what you miss. You can tell them what scares you now. You can share a moment from your day or a memory that surfaced unexpectedly. You can say things you never got to say, or things you said 1,000 times, but wish you could say once more. There is no right or wrong way to write these letters. You can write a single sentence. You can write pages. You can write once a month, once a week, or every time the ache becomes too heavy. The point isn't the writing itself. It's the release, the connection, the honesty. It's a way of continuing the bond, of keeping your heart open instead of shutting it down. Another gentle way to support your healing is by creating a small remembrance space in your home. Nothing elaborate, nothing heavy. Just a quiet corner with a photo, a candle, a personal item, or something that reminds you of who they were and what they meant to you. This space is not meant to make you sad. It's meant to give your love a home. When grief is unspoken, it becomes tangled inside you. But when you have a place to go, a chair, a shelf, a corner, where you can sit for a moment and breathe, your grief becomes more bearable. That small space becomes a sanctuary, a place where you can remember without feeling overwhelmed, a place where love is honored, not erased. You might find yourself visiting that space often at first, or not at all. There is no perfect way to use it. Just knowing it exists can be comforting, a reminder that though loss changed your world, love still has a place within it. Another gentle healing practice is noticing, recording, or simply acknowledging the meaningful moments in your day. They don't have to be big. You're not searching for happiness. You're creating awareness. You're reminding yourself that even in grief, there are small pockets of warmth that still find their way to you. Maybe you stepped outside and felt the sun warm your face. Maybe a bird landed near you. Maybe someone held a door for you, or you tasted something good, or a memory made you smile instead of cry. These moments are like soft lanterns in a long night. They don't erase the darkness, but they keep you from feeling lost in it. When you pay attention to them, when you write down even one good moment a day, you begin to see that your life still has texture, color, and movement. You begin to rebuild emotional strength, not by ignoring your pain, but by gently balancing it with bits of light. Healing isn't about pushing away what hurts. It's about making space for what helps. And one of the things that helps more than people realize is connection. Not forced socializing, not crowded rooms or endless conversations, just gentle human connection. The kind that reminds you that you still belong somewhere. Opening yourself back up to community doesn't mean pretending you're fine. It doesn't mean smiling when you don't want to, or keeping your sadness hidden. It means allowing yourself to experience small, safe interactions that soften the loneliness and remind you that you're not invisible. This could be as simple as talking to a neighbor for a minute, or attending a community center activity once a week, or joining a small support group where people understand what you're going through, or calling a friend and letting the conversation wander anywhere it needs to. The goal isn't to replace the person you lost. No one ever could. The goal is to feel supported as you learn to live with the stress they left behind. Community doesn't erase grief, but it cushions it. It gives you people to sit beside, to listen to share the quiet moments with. And sometimes the quiet presence of another person is enough to make the day feel a little less heavy. You don't have to become a social butterfly. You don't have to fill your schedule. You just have to stay open just a little to the world around you. Grief tries to convince you that you have to isolate yourself to survive. But Healing happens when you stay connected, even in small, fragile ways. Healing will always be a delicate process. Some days will feel gentle, some will feel heavy, some will surprise you with tears, and others will surprise you with laughter you didn't expect to feel again. But every small step you take, every letter you write, every memory corner you create, every meaningful moment you acknowledge, every person you allow into your world, these steps are not trivial. They're the bridge that carries you from surviving to living. You are not required to heal quickly. You are not required to be strong all the time. You are not required to pretend you're okay. What you are allowed to do fully, freely, without guilt is heal slowly and lovingly at the pace your heart allows. And I want you to remember this. Healing doesn't mean leaving your love behind. It means carrying it with you in a way that doesn't break you. It means learning to let your memories warm you instead of only hurting you. It means finding ways to honor your past while still allowing yourself to move gently into the future. Your grief is a testament to love. Your healing will be a testament to resilience. And both can exist together. You are not rebuilding your life from scratch. You are reshaping it with what remains, with courage, with tenderness, with the quiet hope that life still has moments worth living. And you don't have to walk this healing journey alone. I'm right here with you, softening the edges, calming the storms, holding the lantern while you take each step, one small moment at a time, one small breath at a time. You're healing even if you don't see it yet. One of the quietest, most painful parts of grief is the isolation it creates. Even when you're surrounded by people, even when someone calls to check on you, even when you know there are folks who care, grief has a way of making you feel alone in a room full of voices. It creates a distance, an invisible wall that no one else can see. And after losing someone who was such a constant presence in your life, it's easy to slip into patterns of solitude without even realizing it. But here's something important to understand. Your heart is not meant to heal in isolation. Human beings, especially those who have loved deeply, are wired for connection. We mend little by little through moments of shared presence, shared stories, shared warmth. This doesn't mean you have to suddenly become outgoing or force yourself into social situations that feel overwhelming. Rebuilding connection is not about crowds or noise. It's about small, intentional steps that help you remember that you still belong to the world and that the world still has room for you. Sometimes the first step is as simple as reaching out to someone once a day. A text, a short phone call, a voicemail if they don't answer. It doesn't have to be a long conversation. It doesn't have to be emotional. Just a hi, just checking on someone, just letting your voice exist in another person's day. You might think, I don't want to bother anyone, or I don't want to be a burden. But connection isn't a burden, it's a lifeline. Most people are far more open to hearing from you than you imagine. And surprisingly, reaching out doesn't only help them feel remembered, It helps you feel less alone, less invisible, less forgotten in your own life. When you make these small gestures consistently, every day, or even a few times a week, you begin to shift the energy around you. Your world, which felt so tight and enclosed, starts to soften around the edges. You begin to feel part of something again, piece by piece. Another powerful way to reconnect is to gently place yourself in environments designed for support. Places where you don't have to explain everything, where the people around you understand what aging feels like, what loneliness feels like, what loss feels like. Senior centers, community centers, church groups, grief circles, or small hobby clubs aren't just social spaces. They're emotional anchors. These spaces are filled with people who know the weight of quiet evenings, who know what it's like to lose someone, who know how long grief can last. You won't have to perform there. You won't have to hide your sadness or pretend you're fine. You can just show up exactly as you are and let the gentle presence of others hold part of the weight for you. You don't need to be the one talking. You don't need to make friends right away. Just being in the room is enough for your heart to remember what being part of a community feels like. The sound of chatter, the warmth of a smile, the comfort of someone saying, "Good to see you." These small experiences can slowly rebuild your sense of belonging, and sometimes reconnecting doesn't mean meeting new people. It means rediscovering old ones, people you used to talk to, friends you drifted away from, family members you haven't spoken to in a while. Reaching out to them might feel vulnerable or awkward or frightening, especially after months or years of distance. But relationships don't disappear as easily as we think they do. Often, all they need is one open door, one call, one message, one moment of courage. You might be surprised by how warmly people respond, how ready they are to reconnect, how much they missed you without ever saying it out loud. Reopening an old friendship can feel like finding a familiar blanket in a cold room, a reminder that parts of your life still exist, still matter, still have meaning. But perhaps the biggest challenge of rebuilding connection isn't reaching out, it's letting others reach in. For many older adults, especially those who have spent a lifetime being strong, reliable, independent, accepting help can feel uncomfortable, even shameful. You might be used to being the caretaker, the one who handles everything, the one who makes sure others are okay. And now the idea of needing help feels foreign, maybe even embarrassing. But I want you to hear this clearly. Allowing others to help you is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of wisdom. Humans were never meant to carry everything alone. Your grief is heavy because your love was heavy. And when the heart is hurting, it needs connection, the way the body needs oxygen. Opening yourself to support, letting someone bring you a meal, drive you somewhere, listen to you, sit with you. This is not burdening anyone. It is allowing the world to care for you. Sometimes accepting help is the bravest thing you can do. It's an act of trust, an act of courage, an act of self-love. It says, my life still matters enough to let someone in. Rebuilding connection doesn't erase grief, but it prevents grief from shrinking your world. It keeps your heart from hardening. It reminds you that you are still here, still human, still worthy of companionship. And you don't need to rebuild everything at once. Start where you are. Send one message. Attend one small gathering. Call one person you miss. Say yes the next time someone offers help. Let yourself be held a little, supported a little, seen a little. As you do this, the loneliness that wraps around you like a heavy blanket may begin to loosen. You'll start to feel the subtle warmth of connection again. Not the intense, consuming kind you once had with the person you lost, but a gentle, steady kind that reminds you life still has people in it who care. And slowly, the world becomes less sharp, less cold, less empty. You may find that your heart still aches, but it aches in a world where voices reach you, where faces greet you, where hands help steady you when you feel unsure. And that makes a difference, a profound difference. Rebuilding connection doesn't mean replacing what you lost. It means making room for what still remains. It means allowing new moments, new friendships, new sources of support to exist alongside your grief. Your heart is strong enough to hold both. Your life is wide enough to contain both. Your future is still open enough to welcome both. And no matter how alone you felt up until now, remember this: you don't have to stay alone. You don't have to carry everything yourself. You don't have to close the door to connection just because life has broken your heart. You can open that door just a little. You can let the world back in just a little. You can reach out and be reached in return. And I'll be right here with you, gently guiding you toward a life where connection supports you, where community holds you, where loneliness no longer defines your days. One message at a time, one conversation at a time, one brave, gentle step at a time. There comes a moment in every grief journey, not a dramatic moment, not a loud one, when you quietly start to wonder what the rest of your life is supposed to look like. Not because you've stopped missing the person you loved, and not because the pain has disappeared, but because something inside you begins to whisper, there has to be more than this. There has to be something still worth living for. That whisper is not betrayal. It's not selfishness. It's not moving on. It's the first sign of your heart remembering that life doesn't end with loss. It changes, yes. It reshapes itself. It softens in some places and grows stronger in others, but it doesn't end. And I want you to know this: it is okay to look for meaning again. It is okay to want more than a survival. It is okay to step into a new chapter, even when the old one still aches. Your grief will always be part of your story, but it does not have to be the whole story. It can be a chapter, a painful, important chapter that leads you somewhere quieter, gentler, and more hopeful. Many people misunderstand grief. They think healing means forgetting or replacing. But healing isn't about erasing the past. It's about learning how to carry your memories in a way that doesn't crush you. It's about finding small threads of purpose again, threads you can gently weave into the life you still have. Sometimes the search for new meaning begins with something very small, a hobby you used to enjoy, a task that gives your hands something to do, something that sparks the faintest flicker of curiosity. It doesn't have to be big or impressive. It just has to be yours. Maybe it's planting flowers, watching them grow even when your heart feels heavy. Maybe it's picking up a book again, even if you only read a few pages at a time. Maybe it's taking a short walk each morning, letting the fresh air remind you that the world hasn't disappeared, even when it feels like it has. Maybe it's cooking a simple meal, not because someone else will enjoy it, but because your body deserves nourishment. These aren't distractions. These are invitations, gentle invitations, for life to touch you again. Finding purpose through small hobbies isn't about filling time. It's about reminding your mind and body that you are still capable of creating something new, even in the shadow of loss. It's about showing yourself that you still have experiences waiting for you, moments that might not erase the pain, but can sit beside it, softening its edges. And slowly, almost without noticing, these small moments of engagement begin to stitch themselves together into something larger. A sense of direction, a sense of meaning, a sense of self-returning. Grief often convinces you that life has nothing left to offer, that the best parts have already happened, that the world has dimmed permanently. But the truth is gentler than that. The truth is that there is still love in this world, not the same love, not the same form, not the same chapter, but love nonetheless. Love in friendships, love in community, love in small acts of kindness, love in the quiet joy of a sunrise, or the warmth of a cup of tea, or the laughter of someone you weren't expecting to share a moment with. Life does not run out of things to love. It simply waits for your heart to be ready again. And you don't have to feel ready all at once, meaning doesn't return in some dramatic moment of clarity. It returns in small pieces, in subtle shifts, in the soft willingness to let beauty exist beside your pain. One day, you might find yourself laughing and then quickly feeling guilty for it. But hear me when I say this. Your laughter does not disrespect your grief. Your joy does not erase your love. Your healing does not betray the person you lost. If anything, allowing yourself to experience life again honors them, because the love you shared was alive. It was warm, it was full, and continuing to live in a way that welcomes new warmth isn't replacing them. It's continuing the legacy of the love they gave you. Grief is not the end of your story. It's the place where your story changes shape, where loss becomes part of your identity, but not the entirety of it. Finding new meaning after loss isn't about creating a brand new life. It's about discovering that even in the quiet, even in the emptiness, even in the ache, you still have the capacity to connect, to feel, to hope, and yes, to love. You might not know what this next chapter looks like yet. You don't have to. You don't need a plan. You don't need a mission. You just need to stay open to small joys, to gentle possibilities, to the idea that life can still offer moments worth holding onto. And you don't have to walk toward these moments alone. I'm right here with you, reminding you that your grief is real, your love is real, and your ability to find meaning again is also real, no matter how impossible it feels right now. One small moment of curiosity, one small spark of interest, one small connection with the world. That's all it takes to begin. And you've already survived the hardest part. Meaning will come back to you not as a dramatic return, but as a quiet unfolding. And you will follow it step by gentle step into a life that still has room for peace, for softness, and for love in its many forms. Before we end this time together, I want you to stay right where you are for a moment. Keep your breath soft. Let your shoulders drop just a little more. And allow these words to settle into you like a warm blanket being placed gently across your chest. Because everything you've carried, everything you've survived, everything you've felt but couldn't put into words, you don't have to hold it all alone anymore. You've walked through so much pain, through so many quiet nights, through so many mornings when getting out of bed felt heavier than it should. And yet, you're here, listening, breathing, trying, even when your heart aches, even when your world feels smaller, even when you're not sure why, you're still moving forward. That effort matters. That resilience matters. You matter. And I want you to hear this, really hear it, because so often it gets lost under the noise of grief. You're not alone, not in your sadness, not in your longing, not in the nights that feel endless or the days that feel empty. So many people walk through grief feeling like the world has forgotten them, like their pain is invisible, like no one understands the depth of what they've lost. But I see you, I feel you, I'm here with you in this moment, holding space for the tenderness you don't always show, for the sorrow you've been carrying quietly, for the love that still lives inside you. And even if you haven't believed this in a long time, your life still has meaning. Not because you're busy, not because you're productive, not because you have everything figured out. Your life has meaning because you are still here, because your presence still touches the world in ways you may never fully realize, because your story is not finished, because the love inside you did not disappear when the person you cherished left this earth. Love doesn't end. It changes form. It becomes something quieter, deeper, woven into the way you breathe, the way you speak, the way you live your days. And even though you may not feel it now, the person you loved, the one you lost, the one whose absence still aches, they want you to live, not just exist. They want you to find moments of softness again. They want you to feel sunlight on your skin without guilt. They want you to laugh without stopping yourself. They want you to discover new reasons to wake up, new people to care about, new moments of peace. Not because your love for them is fading, but because your love for them is strong enough to let life continue through you. If they could sit beside you right now, you know what they would say. They would hold your hand, they would look into your eyes, and they would whisper, "Keep living, keep going. I want you to be okay." Not perfect, not healed overnight, just okay. Just breathing, just taking small steps forward, just letting life slowly wrap itself around you again. Grief tries to convince you that your story ended when theirs did, but it didn't. Your story is still unfolding. Your heart is still beating. Your presence is still needed. There are still people who will be touched by your kindness. There are still conversations waiting for you. There are still mornings that will feel gentle, even if today doesn't feel that way yet. You haven't run out of things to love. You haven't run out of things to experience. You haven't run out of reasons to be here, even if those reasons feel small right now. Small reasons still count. The world is quieter without the person you lost. But the world is not empty. There is still beauty he left for you. There is still connection left for you. There is still hope left for you. Even if it's fragile, even if it flickers, even if it feels very far away, and when the nights feel long, when memories come without warning, when your chest tightens, when tears appear before you can stop them, I want you to remember what I'm about to say. You do not have to fight the pain. You only have to feel it and let it pass. And it will pass. Every wave passes. Every storm softens. Every ache loosens its hold, even if just for a moment. And those moments are enough to carry you forward. So, as you leave this video, I want you to take with you these final whispers, words you can return to anytime your heart feels too heavy. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You still matter. Your life still has purpose. And the one you loved would want you to live gently, fully, and without shame. Let your breath steady. Let your shoulders soften. Let your heart rest. You're doing the best you can. And truly, that is enough. More than enough. I'm here with you, and you are not walking this road by yourself. Before we end, I want you to take one last deep breath with me, in and out. You've walked through so much today, through pain, through memory, through healing, through hope. And I want you to leave this moment knowing something simple and true. You're still here. You're still trying. And that matters more than you realize. As you step back into your day or into your evening, carry this with you. You don't have to rush. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to heal all at once. Just breathe. Just take the next small step. Just be gentle with your heart. And whenever the weight feels too heavy, you can come back to this space. You can listen again. You can sit with these words, with this comfort, with this softness. You're not alone, not in your grief, not in your healing, not in your journey forward. I am grateful you spent this time with me, and I hope in some small way your heart feels a little lighter, a little softer, a little more held. Take care of yourself. Rest when you need to. And remember, your story is still unfolding.